Well, good morning, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. It's Sunday morning. I hope everyone is doing well. It's been a really good week for me. Last couple weeks have been really good. We got for those of you that don't know, I am a school teacher. I teach middle school social studies, and we just got the year started, right good. We've been in school for what have we been, about a month now, and just everything is going very, very well. We've got kids all back in the classrooms, and in our neck of the woods, our numbers with COVID have not, maybe I should knock on wood, but our numbers have been low in our county. We just haven't had to deal with that. And I know I'm living in a dream world, but I hope we don't have to deal with that. I hope we could be face to face in the classroom all year again, like we were last year. But the school year has gotten off to a really good start. It's been a smooth go. And I really enjoy all of the classes that I have. I have 6 through 8 middle school social studies. So I got 2 sections of 6th grade, 2 sections of 7th, and 2 sections of 8th. And then I have a high school world history class that I teach. And all of those classes have been going very, very well. And the kids are doing really well. And we're about ready to have our first grade check because we do a monthly grade check every 4 weeks, and to make sure that they are on track and they are academically eligible for all of their extracurricular stuff, like like speech and drama and the sports. No matter what the sport is, and the dances and all that kind of, all the extra stuff that comes with school, they got to be academically eligible. So we're at that point. So I know later today I got to do a little bit of paper grading just to make sure everything's all caught up for the grade check tomorrow morning. But other than that, because you fellow teachers out there know how paper grading goes. That's never fun. But other than that, the school year has been a lot of fun. And our football team has gotten off to a decent start. Our high school's 2-2 now. They've ran into a couple of buzzsaws the last couple games, but they are doing a lot better than what they have. They've made some strides forward. Our junior high team is sitting at 1-1, and we play again tomorrow. Hopefully we can, get up over the hump and get to 2-1 and play a good game. Didn't play real well last week. We ran into a juggernaut last week and got, honestly, we got thumped. I think all the kids would agree to that. We struggled last week, but anyway, I'm hoping that will be a little bit of a change tomorrow, and we travel, we're on the road, and hopefully we go over there and we play well. But anyway, the point of this video, this is going to be a Sunday shout outs and Sunday reads. So what have I been reading for the last couple weeks? What am I currently reading? What are my plans for the future? And then, like I said, I wanted to shout out some BookTube channels. I hadn't done a shout out video for a little while, so let's go ahead and actually just get that started so I don't forget to do it at the end. So the first channel that I really want to shout out, and he lives over in England. He's making some efforts to, put out content for everybody. Sometimes they're only 30 seconds long because he likes to do little historical snippets. And then sometimes his videos go up to 10 or 12 minutes, and sometimes a little bit longer than that. But it's Ben at the History Fella. And I looked up all 4 of these channels I'm going to shout out and looked at their current subscribers, and he is sitting at 94 subs. So what I'm asking you to do is go and check out Ben's channel, and let's get him some more subs and get him up over the 100 subs mark. He's a great booktuber. He's great to have conversations with in the down in the comment section. He does a great job of putting history stuff out there. If you are a fan of World War II, you need to go check out his stuff. He has a lot of World War II books, a lot of military history, and just does a phenomenal job. He does a lot of book reviews on those books that he has. He gets a lot of them. He buys a lot of them, so he does some book hauls. So he'll give you a mix of different stuff that's coming out at this point. So go check out Ben at the History Fella. Really nice guy, great booktuber. The next one that I want to shout out is Mrs. Thomas over at Book Talks with Mrs. Thomas. She is also a fellow teacher. She does a great job with her channel. She reads, I think, fiction, a lot of fiction, and she's currently at the 37 subscriber mark. So I guess my goal for this shout out, let's try to get her over the 50 mark at this point. Let's try to get her to the 50 mark. She does a great job. Again, great in the comments section, good conversation back and forth. I know on one of my recent tags, she's the one that created the tag and tagged me. And I'm hoping some people go out and do that tag that she had created. It was called the Reading Autobiography tag. She's currently in her doing some master's, I think it's master's work, some grad work anyway, for her teaching degree. And so one of her assignments was to create a reasons why you read, just think about your own reading. And so she turned it into a tag. And so I enjoyed being tagged. Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. She's a great booktuber. Go check her out. Let's try to get her over that 50 sub mark. The next one that I've got is Book Time with Ryan. Oh my gosh, I've been loving his channel. I had subscribed early on, and I got to be honest. Let me put this out there real fast before I talk about Ryan's channel. I've got a bad habit because with school and coaching, I don't have a ton of time. And then I have a 4-year-old here at the house. And so she requires a lot of attention when I get home. And so actual time to watch BookTube has been, severely limited in how much time. And I got a bad habit of, I'll find somebody that I like, I'll subscribe to their channel, I'll watch a few videos, and then I get into my daily routines and I fail to come back to them not because they are doing anything wrong, I just forget. And, in my, like when I'm doing the dishes or making making lunch for that day early in the morning, I'll put BookTube on, but while I'm doing those activities, but when I'm watching those, I typically watch I got a couple of channels and I watch all the videos that they put out, my favorite channels. I think everybody's got that, but I always fail to come back to some of those new people I subscribe to, and I feel guilty of that. But anyway, I went back to Book Time with Ryan and started binge watching his stuff again because I'd caught a few videos, but now I'm starting at the beginning and I'm working through, and he is a great booktuber. I had somebody point out to me that we have a lot in common, and I agree. We both got young ones at home, and he's in both of our videos, I think, are pretty lighthearted. And one thing he's really got going for him is when he makes his videos, he has got a sense of humor that makes me laugh out loud, and I appreciate that, Ryan. He likes to read like stuff with economics and business, and he also likes to read stuff on true crime and talking on the business side of things. And so if you like those kind of books, go check out his channel. He's currently at, if I didn't say it before, he's currently at 104 subscribers. So he recently got over that 100 mark. Let's keep building his channel because he is a great, great addition to BookTube. So go check out Book Time with Ryan. And the last one that I wanted to do a shout out for, that I had meant to do a shout out a long time ago, I don't think I did it in the last shout out video. If I did, I guess I'm giving her double coverage. That's okay. But she is a great, great booktuber, and she's just fun to watch. She's got a kind spirit. Again, she's kind of like me. She's got youngins at home that she just sent to school, and so we're kind of in that same time period in life of sending kids off to school. And so I feel I got a little bit in common with her as far as that goes. She's a librarian. This is Shelley Swearigan, and she is at the 292 subscriber mark. So her channel has really been growing pretty quickly. So I don't really know how much she needs my help in this shout out, but if you are not familiar with her, go check out her channel. She reads all kinds of fiction, first of all, but she loves children's fiction, that is, or children's books. Those are her kind of her niche, her baby. And I know one of the projects that she's working on right now is 1,001 children's books you need to read before you die or before you become an adult, something like that. Can't remember the exact title of the book, but she's been going through that whole list, and that has been a lot of fun listening to her talk about those books. So anyway, if you are not familiar with Shelley, go check out her channel. She is a great personality, wonderful booktuber. All four of these are wonderful booktubers, kind people I could listen to all day, if I had the time anyway, listen to all day. I'll leave the links to all of their channels down below in the description box. So go check them out, give them some subs, give them some love. So those are my shout outs, my Sunday shout outs for today. So now I want to get into my reading life. What have I been reading? What am I reading? And what are my plans for the very near future? Excuse me. You'll have to forgive my voice. I'm a little scratchy. I've been yelling a lot at football practice and stuff, and I have a naturally loud voice, according to my wife. And I like to get loud in the classroom, and we talk and joke and have a good time. And so anyway, my voice has been a victim to my enthusiasm, so I apologize for that. But anyway, last Friday, not the, let me get my days all straight, not the 17th, but the 10th, I think that would be the date, somewhere around there, around September 10th, I finally finished the book that I have been working on since January 1st. I've been dipping in and out of it from time to time, and it's American Caesar, Douglas MacArthur, 1880 to 1964 by William Manchester. This was a great book. It should not have taken me as long as it did, but as my reading life goes, I am a mood reader, and I got to be in the right mood to read this heavy, in-depth history. This was a great biography. I'm going to do a book chat on this, so I don't want to talk a ton about it, but it is exactly what the subtitle says, Douglas MacArthur's life from 1880 to 1964, and William Manchester does an extremely thorough job of researching his life, and I just enjoyed this. I got a really good look at Douglas MacArthur. I'd never read anything about Douglas MacArthur, like as far as biographies go. I'd read about him in general histories of World War II, but I had not read a biography on him. This was my first one, and I think I picked a good one. I think I picked this book up free from the library when they were discarding it, and I'm glad I did because, like I said, Manchester does a very thorough job. He gives you, just real quickly, he gives you a background of MacArthur's grandparents and his parents, starting at the beginning of his life and where that kind of sets him on his in his life path. And then he goes to West Point, and he ends up serving out in the Philippines. He serves he lives out in the Philippines. He lives all over the West in some of the places that are kind of just out in the middle of nowhere. And he also served in World War I, World War II, in the Korean War, which was the last one that he served in. And he was also I can't remember what his exact title was, but he was the leader of Japan during the post-war time period when they were trying to set up the democracy. And he did a lot of the building back up of Japan and trying to fix things. And he was also in the Philippines, and he played a large role there. But anyway, don't want to tell you too much because, like I said, I'm going to do a book chat on this very soon, probably this week, probably Thursday is my guess is when I'll put that video out. Because I've been trying to do my videos like every 2 days, give people a chance to watch and then move on to the next piece of content. So anyway, I hope to put that out there for you to watch. Please go check out that video when the time comes. Great book. Highly recommend that if you got some time. Again, very thick book though, and it's good, but it doesn't read super fast. And like I said, for me, I had to be in the mood to read it, so that's why it took me so long. But it has 793 pages, so it's it's a chunky monkey. The next one that I read that I think at the end of the year, when I put together my top 10 for the year, 10 books that I read that were, in my opinion, the best ones I read all year. And my list is not like Steve Donahue's. It's not just 2021 books. Mine will be any date possible because I read all over the spectrum. I got mainly used books that I buy, and so it's all old stuff for the most part. But this is probably going to be on my top 10, I imagine. It is an awesome book. This is by Harold Holzer. This is Lincoln at Cooper Union, the speech that made Abraham Lincoln president. And it is exactly what it says. The whole book is about just prior to running for the presidency, when Abraham Lincoln went to New York and gave to the Cooper Institute a speech on slavery. And he gave the history of it. He gave the political parameters of it, where our founding fathers stood and that kind of stuff, and basically beat up slavery a little bit in a not so much of a raw speech. It's more of a let's put the history of it together and let's look at what the founding fathers actually said, and this is why we got to get rid of it. And so this was an awesome book, all about that speech, the time period just prior to it and then just after. So what led up to it, and then the legacy of the speech, what it did for Abraham Lincoln's career. Awesome book. And I tabbed, I don't know if you can, I tabbed a few places there towards the end. I started I forgot to do it at the beginning. It was so good. I was just kind of buzzing through it. And I read this in it was throughout last week, but this could have been read in a couple afternoons very easily. Very, very good prose. Harold Holzer is just an absolute awesome author. I've read a couple of his other books on Lincoln, and I loved them also. There was the one that I remember the most is his one that he did on the winter, when Lincoln got elected in November of 1860, over the winter, the secession winter of 1860-61. He wrote a book on just that winter time period and what Lincoln did. It was awesome. And so I knew I was going to probably like this, just because I like Harold Holzer's work, but I didn't know how much I was going to like it. Very, very good. I guess this would be a keyhole history, a little rabbit down the rabbit path, and highly recommend it. Go check that book out. I'm also going to do a book chat on this, so be looking for that in the coming week or so. So that's what I've read the last couple weeks. I've really been hammering on those books, trying to get those finished. And so what I am reading currently, what am I reading right now? So as far as nonfiction goes, I picked up this book. It's The Terrible Swift Sword. It's volume 2, the American Civil War trilogy by Bruce Catton. It is a classic. Any Civil War buff, any Civil War historian should be reading this. Anybody wanting to learn anything more about the Civil War, or if you just really like good writing, Bruce Catton is your man. He is an excellent writer. And I don't know if you remember, but I had picked this up towards the beginning of last year, and I can't remember, or of this year, last school year. I picked it up in January, February, and I'd started to read it for my SSR time. And that's like our 20-minute reading period that we do every day during school. We alternate it. Like Monday, it'll be Bulldog time, our advisory period. And then on Tuesday, it's first hour. Wednesday, it's second hour. Thursday, it's third hour. Friday, it's fourth hour. And then the next week, it'll be fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, Tuesday through Friday, and then we switch it all over again. Anyway, 20 minutes of reading every day. In 20 minutes, I usually cannot get a lot read in 20 minutes with a nonfiction book. Fiction, I can get a pretty good chunk read in 20 minutes, but not with nonfiction. So it was kind of a slow go, not the book itself, but just the amount of reading time I was allowing myself. So it was my goal that once I got done with the two books that I just showed you, I wanted to go ahead and hammer this out and knock this out. And so I am, 116 pages into this book, and it is 559 pages. I imagine I will have this done, if not I don't want to say next weekend, but in 2 weeks, I'll probably have this done if I'm reading a little bit at a time, a little bit in the morning, then during SSR, and then over the weekend, I usually get a bigger chunk of time to read. But that's what I'm reading right now as far as nonfiction goes. Again, if you just want good storytelling, go check out Bruce Catton. He's awesome. Good book. Now for fiction that I'm reading, I recently, I guess I got to give a little backstory here. I was watching, I don't remember whose video it was. I apologize. But anyway, I watched a couple of different books on Stephen King's works, and they were ranking all of the Stephen King books and what they thought was the best and why they thought it was the best. And I've read a handful of his books. He's got a ton of them out there. And it's always been my thought, I am going to read through every one of those books. And so at one time in my library, before I culled the herd, I had a really big chunk of the Stephen King novels. I'd been collecting them because I really liked his stuff. I think they're enjoyable, they're entertaining, sometimes a little scary, but very entertaining. Excuse me. And I had the thought that I wanted to read them all. Well, when I started building my library, and I used to have them out on these front shelves in the house, my wife had made the decision, now that your daughter's getting older, my oldest daughter, I really don't want her reading those books. There's a lot of, some of the subject matter is not real kid friendly. We'll just call it that. And I totally understood what she was meaning. They were not the books we wanted to have around. My 4-year-old is in the process of starting to learn to read. She's learning her letters and all that. And she's pretty, I don't mean to brag, but I think she's pretty bright, and she's going to pick up on that. And she loves to be read to and loves to make up her own words to the book when she reads them back. But she's in that parroting process right now, or she just, parrots back, repeats back what the story was. But I suspect in the next year or so, she's going to be reading on her own. She's picking stuff up pretty quick. And anyway, long story short, my wife did not want Stephen King sitting on the shelf. So I only have maybe 3 books of Stephen King left on my shelves. I kept his what is it called? Writing, I think is what it's called, his memoir. I kept that because there was nothing in there that was, of the scary stuff. It just talked about his life in writing and that kind of stuff, which was a really good book. And I left the book, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. I really liked that story, and it wasn't too scary. And then the other book that I had that I had actually won my first year on BookTube was the Bazaar, Bad Dreams. And that's the only other one that I got in my collection. So anyway, I went to my library and I picked up Under the Dome by Stephen King. So again, I said I was watching those videos ranking all of Stephen King's books, and I was like, man, I still have that hankering where I want to go back and read all those. I guess my thought was I could just get them from the library. I don't have to actually have them in my own collection necessarily. I can get them from the library and then give them back so that they're not in the house all the time. And I also saw it was a tag that went around, the Mooks and something tag. I can't remember the name of it. I apologize. But it was all about bucket lists. And part of my bucket list was to read all of Stephen King's books. And Shelley Swearengin said in one of her videos recently that, she was watching Steve Donahue, just like me, and he talked about you shouldn't have bucket lists because you don't know how long you're going to live. It might be tomorrow when your time is called. And so don't have bucket lists. Have TBRs that you're currently knocking out. Don't wait until you're 60 to start reading all of those books you always wanted to read, because you never know when your time's coming. So taking that to heart, much like what she did with her reading, she was talking about classics, Shelley was, I'm going to pick up these one, I'm going to go through his collection, Stephen King's collection of books. And I'm going to put that on my TBR, my bucket list, so to speak, but I'm going to be currently working on it. I'm not going to wait till I'm retired to do it. It's going to go on there along with all the James Michener books, but that I had started last year. So anyway, this book, great book. So far, it's very intriguing. I had picked this book up at one time in the past, but I could not for the life of me remember how far I got. I had ended up putting it down because life got busy and I had to get the book back to the library. So I sent it back. I suspect I am, 176 pages in. I suspect I'm getting to the point where I was when I turned it in the first time. But this story is a good story. It's all about this town in Maine that has all of a sudden one day this dome appears over the town, and you can't get in or out. And I am currently at the spot where the army has come in. They've dug like 100 feet down, and it is still going. And the dome busted through like granite and stuff like that, and pretty impressive little structure. And so the people are now in the panic state, trying to figure out how are they going to survive, or how long is this even going to last. And so the main character in the book has now been assigned by a former military buddy to go check out where is this, we'll call it a force field, where is this force field coming from? And he's getting ready to, that was the last part I read, was he's getting ready to go hunt that down. But you've got a large cast of characters, and it is fun watching Stephen King take their lives and intertwine them in this small Maine rural community. And so far, I would recommend this book. I'm having fun with it. So I'm hoping that I will have it. I don't know if I'll have it done by the end of September, because that's, what is it, like 10, 11 days away, 12 days away, 11 days away. So I don't know if I'm going to actually have it done by then, but I'm going to keep reading on it. You can read pretty large chunks. It reads real fast. Now, keep in mind how big this thing is. This is 1,074 pages, but it reads real fast. Just like I said, don't be intimidated by the size of the book. I would recommend it so far. So that's what I'm currently reading. Now, my future plans of reading as we head into late September and into October. First one is this book by Laurie House Anderson. I'm not sure exactly how to say that, but Laurie Anderson. And this is a fictional book. It's a middle grade book, and it's called Forge. I don't know anything about this book. It was handed to me Friday. I think it was Friday, maybe it was Thursday or Friday. The language arts teacher handed it to me. She said, "You need to read this." And it goes with another book that I had started and never finished last year. I need to get back to it. But she said you can read this as a standalone. It's all about, American Revolution at Valley Forge. So let me read this cover to you. It says, "The young soldiers at Valley Forge are suffering from hunger, cold, and the threat of the British Army. Their newly forged bonds of friendship might be enough to help them survive. But the chains of Curzon's past threaten to shackle him again. Surrounded by the fires of ignorance, mistrust, and greed, Curzon can't risk sharing his deadly secrets with anyone. Does he have the mettle to hold on to his freedom, to claim his rightful place as an American? Is he strong enough to find the answer to the hardest question of all? Is Isabel still alive?" Acclaimed author Laurie Anderson continues the thrilling adventure started in her best-selling, award-winning novel, Chains, and that's the book I picked up last year and got busy and never finished it. Ride along on a gallop that will take you from battling the British at Saratoga to fighting the elements at Valley Forge, to rebelling against merciless tyranny. Discover what the fight for freedom was really about. And so very, very excited to read that. I love revolution stuff. And I've been really working hard. Shelley in her channel, she's been talking about, she is like I said, a librarian, and she really loves children's literature. And, if that's her baby, that's her go-to, she needs to read that whole list, or she wants to read that whole list. So she has experience in all of those books. I feel a little bit the same way, where I've been really trying hard the last couple of months to pick up different middle grade books for my middle school kids. I want to be able to give them suggestions, because a lot of times the suggestions I have are books that are kind of over their head, or they're going to, as middle school kids do, they're going to get bored with them. It's not going to be as exciting for them as it is for me. So I've been trying really hard to find middle grade books that I can read so I can have that conversation with the kids in the classroom. Because I always love that. That is one of my favorite parts of the day, is asking the kids, so what are you reading? What's it about? And then I share mine, and next thing you know, there's sparks flying between, their loves of reading, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So anyway, I'm going to pick that one up in the next couple weeks, and I think it'll read pretty fast. Usually middle grade books do. The next one that I want to read for October, being the scary month that it is, and me being on my little journey of Stephen King books, I had this on my list last year in October, and I did not get to it because things got really hectic in October. The pandemic kicked in again, and especially towards the end of the month, and things got really hectic at school. I don't have that going this year so far, and so I'm going to pick up the Bazaar of Bad Dreams, which is, I believe, a collection of short stories, scary stories from Stephen King. So I thought that would be very appropriate for the month of October. And the last book I wanted to talk about that I will be reading, I believe, I probably should have double checked with Peg, make sure my month is correct, but I believe we're doing a buddy read, and it is going to be, I know we're doing a buddy read. I think it's in October. It is John Meacham's biography of Thomas Jefferson. It's Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power. And I've heard a lot of people say really good things about this. It was, it was on the shelves in the store for a long, long time. It's a pretty thick, heavy book. It is, let's see, if I can get to that last page. It is 759 total pages. And again, this is from John Meacham, who is a premier presidential historian. If you've never read John Meacham, go check out John Meacham. I have read a couple of his books, thoroughly loved them. I got some more on the shelf I just haven't got to yet, but I would highly recommend them. This book is from Random House out of New York, and it is a 2012 book. So I am behind the times when it comes to getting stuff read, but I do plan on reading this with Peg, and we'll read that throughout the month. It might take us a month, maybe a month and a half, depending on, she's got a very, very busy schedule with her book reviewing and stuff. So, it might be one that I just take bits and pieces of, as the time goes, and I'll kind of keep pace with her, let her set the pace, because I know her reading schedule is a lot more hectic than mine. Mine is more what looks good at the time. So, that is my reading plans. And also, one other thing I wanted to mention that I will also be dipping into that is on my hit list, I guess, is this American Presidents series by, if you can see that, it is by Arthur Schlesinger Jr. and Sean Wiltz, and they have done biographies, and they're all really short. This one was 184 pages. It's like 155 pages of text. So they're all, between 150 and 200 pages, basically. They're all real small like that, and they've got one for every president. I don't know if they have one for Trump or not. I think they had one for Bush and Obama, but I don't think they had one for Trump yet. And don't quote me on that because I might be wrong. But it's a pretty recent series. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's a pretty recent series, and it is my plan to go through all of them. And they're so short, and it's such a great just overview of that president's life. What I decided to do was at school with my middle school budget for social studies, I always have kids asking me, do you have a biography on, because they do biographies in language arts. They have a whole unit of that. And they'll ask me about particular presidents. And I've got some of them, but I don't have all of them. And I thought, they don't take up a ton of room on the shelf. I'm guessing a middle schooler can read them and be okay with them and give them, and it's such an overview, it'll give them a really good idea. It's kind of a jumping off spot for their research. And I wanted to get the whole collection. And so I put out a order for those and got it approved through my administration. And I got the first 20 presidents in this series. And so I've got those for my classroom, and I plan on reading them myself as well. I think I only have 2 books left that I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. I think those are the only 2 I'm waiting on from Amazon. So I've got a copy of the first, 18 of the first 20 presidents. And so I'm going to start also going through these, because you can read these. If you have a full Saturday, you can easily get it done. And I'm a slow reader, so that tells you out there, BookTube, all you faster readers could probably get a couple of them done on a Saturday. But anyway, they're great books. Highly recommend them. Of course, I say that with a grain of salt. I liked this one. I think it was wonderful. It possibly could be in my top 10 books that I read this year. But the one on Woodrow Wilson, who it's authored by H.W. Brands, who is one of my all-time favorite authors. But it is not Brands' best work. And maybe I just need to reread the book. I don't know. I found it very boring. And then again, maybe it was Wilson's life. I don't know. And I don't mean that to be mean. I probably just need to go reread the book and see if my opinion still stands. But, that might have changed. It changes over time sometimes. Maybe it was the time of the year when I was reading it. Maybe it was my mood. I don't know. I need to probably reread it. But anyway, going to go through that whole series. So that's probably enough of me rambling, BookTube. I thank you for watching. If you've stuck what am I at, over 35 minutes. I didn't mean for that to happen. But anyway, thank you for watching. Be looking for those book chats that I'm going to do this week. Should be on Thursday and next Saturday, I think is what I'm going to do. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go check out the shout outs that I did for Ben at the History Fella, Mrs. Thomas at Book Talks with Mrs. Thomas, Book Time with Ryan, and Shelley Swearigan. Let's get their subscriber counts up. They deserve it. They're excellent booktubers. And so anyway, thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful Sunday and a great week of work. So until next time, BookTube, happy reading.